Welcome to Under Two Capes, the only show that knows that Zack Snyder and Kevin Feige are the gods of superhero movies. I am Jared.
I'm Lad.
And this is the 100th episode, people. We are at 100.
Yep.
Lad, how do you say 100 in Spanish?
Cien.
All right, Cien. This is the Cien episode.
Uh-huh.
It's officially 100. We have been doing this for 100 weeks.
Yeah. And it's been really consistent. Like, it's been consistently every week, pretty much.
There's only been like 1 week where I think I didn't upload just because like stuff happened or like I had computer issues.
Yeah. And, Jared started this. I jumped on like on the 7th episode. So like, like a couple.
You were a guest first.
Yeah. And then I kind of became like a really on full time.
Yeah. So I was doing some thinking. What would be a really good episode to do for a 100 episode? What would be a good topic to discuss? Now, one of the things that I constantly see on YouTube is how do I get into comic books? How do I get into comic books? This is so intimidating, which it is. But so we're going to use this episode as a guide for all of you newbies. If you watch like the Snyder Cut, which was glorious, or Spider-Man, which was equally glorious. In fact, Lad, I was thinking about it. Spider-Man and the Snyder Cut are like this right now in terms of my estimation of superhero movies.
If we get Amazing Spider-Man 3
or
something, or they show up in Secret Wars, that could
watch.
Really
the portal opens again. Here's the thing. Quick tangent. Imagine if in Amazing Spider-Man 3, the portal opens and there's Spider-Gwen.
That'd be awesome.
Played by the same actress. That'd be so great. All right, anyway, back to the episode. So we're going to give you the official Comics League guide. How do I get into comic books? Well, I'm going to handle more like a general idea. Then Lad's going to tell you how to get into the very complicated lore that is the web crawler.
Yep.
Now, we're going to start by talking about the different terms and the different ways different comic books are described. First we have, it's a floppy. These are individual issues. And by the way, for those of you on audio, I'm holding up a comic book. If you want to see it, you can go to the YouTube channel at Comics League at youtube.com, I guess. But anyway, the floppy is the standard comic book that you see on like the racks of a comic book store. This is primarily what people collect.
Yeah. They have advertisements in it and stuff like that also,
Occasionally. Then we have a trade paperback. This will normally be a collection of a bunch of these floppies into that encompass a certain arc. Like this has all the ends of the earth arcs, which are like Amazing Spider-Man number 682 to 687, meaning it has those comic book issues because those collect into the story of ends of the earth. Then you have, and this is a workout to hold up, the omnibus.
Man, dude.
Now, this is the most expensive option, but it is the most bang for your buck because this is every JLA issue that Grant Morrison ever wrote, meaning it's normally like a writer's entire run on a character. Or it's like a very big storyline, like Clone Saga is 5 of these.
Man.
5 of these.
How many pages is that omnibus you got there?
I'm counting. Counting everything, it is counting only the storyline.
Yeah,
it is
just the storyline.
1,486.
That's insane. That's awesome.
Almost 1,500 pages.
Okay. Do you mind showing us the back of that, sir, with the price tag on that?
Okay. It is $150.
Honestly, that's not too bad for how much e-comics you're getting there. I mean, you're getting
because you're getting like, I can't even count this. It's so much.
Yeah. You're getting a ton of comic books. That's actually not a bad deal because the paperback, the trade that we were just showing, the paperback, that was costing like those cost like $20 each
Mhm.
sometimes.
At least 20 bucks.
So-
It depends on how old the storyline is or how important the storyline is too, because
Yeah.
I've seen trades on Amazon that are like almost as thick of this, going for like $10.
Right, yeah, it depends. So it depends sometime on the time period, the rarity, so you gotta keep an eye out.
Yeah. So, but generally, it's like, let me put it this way. So, End of the Earth is part of Dan Slott's Spider-Man run.
Mhm.
Dan Slott's Spider-Man Omnibus would be like this.
Yeah.
Where it's like they have like a Final Crisis Omnibus, which okay, so and they're gonna do a Death Metal Omnibus. What they do with events for that, it's the event, the main event, which would be like the 6 issues of Death Metal, and then it's like every single tie-in.
Yeah.
So it's the complete story here.
Yes. Everything.
And it's a good weight if you ever want to lift in your home.
Mhm.
So, and then you have like absolute editions, and generally, I don't have an absolute edition, so I can't use that as a visual aid. But generally, it's like a larger book, and then it's like it has like it. I believe the way it works is that generally it'll have like the full storyline, just the full storyline, and then like all the variant covers.
Oh, really? Oh, is that? Yeah, I'm looking that up. Is that more of a DC Comics thing? I guess.
The absolute editions, I think so. Marvel has omnibuses, hence the 5 Spider-Man ones. I even have my first omnibus was actually the Mark Grunwald Squadron Supreme, which is fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
Because Lad told me, there's the Marvel version of the Justice League, right? And I'm like, no. So I look it up, and I'm like, this is legitimately the Justice League. Like,
yeah.
Almost suspiciously, but I get it, because the reason why he did it that way is because the reason why he played them like the Justice League is because the writer loved the Justice League, but he wanted to be able to write those storylines. So he's like, you know what? I'll just make my own. I'll just make them like the Justice League, but so I can avoid copyright.
Yeah. So we just need a Squadron Supreme movie directed by Zack Snyder.
With the actors. That's just Justice League Part 2 and 3. That'd be the ultimate like middle finger to Warner Brothers. And then watch Marvel gives him creative freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a rumor that Cavill and Batfleck are looking into Marvel. Can you imagine Hyperion and Nighthawk movie? Wait,
yeah.
Nighthawk versus Hyperion, Dawn of the Squadron.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if Oscar Isaac becomes the new Batman, white Batman.
Yeah, that's true.
Moon
Knight. That looks freaking dope. But anyway, so that's what the different types of books are. Generally, I collect trades, and then I recently started collecting like single issues because it's nice to have all of that. If there's a specific issue that's very like sentimental to you, and plus that way you can like hang it on a wall or something like that. But in generally, honestly, even though it's the most expensive option, if you want a lot of story, I would go with an omnibus, because let me put it this way, I'm about 365th through this.
Yeah.
You get like a lot. And occasionally you'll have like other storylines that are collected in trades, but they're actually just in here. And this also includes the graphic novel written by Grant Morrison, JLA Earth 3, which is when it is Earth 2, when the crime syndicate invaded. So this is every Justice League thing that Grant Morrison ever wrote.
That's a lot.
They even have one for the new 52 Justice League, which I probably won't get that since I have every new 52 Justice League trade. So, so that's the different books. That's generally so that way, as we go through the episode and the show, you understand the terminology we're using. Now, going into how to get into it, honestly, Comic Storian had like the best advice for a jumping on point. Pick a team book, a Justice League book or an Avengers book. Pick which characters you like from that, and then find their individual books. Think of the team books as like the appetizer, the sampler. That's what I did. My first comic book was Justice League Trinity War, and that's where I started to really like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, because I liked how they were portrayed in that particular comic.
Right.
So again, generally, team books are the key here because it's like if you like Batman, you can go find his book. If you like Aquaman, you can go find his book where he's talking to dolphins. If you like Superman, while he's off on War, which actually is really cool, you can go read Superman. But so that's generally where I would recommend the first like sampling in DC. And then if you wanted to start like just now, I would honestly start from the most recent reboot, or which would be like post Flashpoint, maybe even post Rebirth. But really, I would start with post. Start with the new 52. If you want a more cohesive universe than it is now, go after Flashpoint, because right now it's a mess. After Flashpoint till like Doomsday Clock, I would say go from that.
Right. That's good advice.
Yeah, it's generally because see, I get it. These characters have been around for like 75 years. It can seem daunting, but you really just want to. And in terms of Batman, that's why I say go after the new 52, because for the most part, it's a reboot for Batman too, even though they try and cram all of his comics into like 5 years because Batman's popular. So
that's good.
Yeah, and then or another way to like sample a character is to read like an Elseworlds book, like Earth One, the Frank Miller universe, Kingdom Come, which you can find up there, which we covered on the podcast. Despite our technical difficulties, it's still one of our top videos.
Yeah.
Or you can, in terms of events, see, work your way to the events, or at least read summaries. Do not go into events blind, because you will not understand what's going on. I barely understood Final Crisis, and I went in there alone.
Man,
I had not read any of the follow-up when I first read Final Crisis. Even I was like, now that I know a little more, I'm even like, what did I just read?
Yeah.
Even Lad, I talk to him about this stuff all the time, and even Lad's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, what?
Superman sings?
Yeah.
But generally, that's the way that I would strongly recommend. In terms of Marvel, see, Marvel, it's harder to just get in blind because they have the sliding time scale. It's not like DC has like reboot here.
Yeah.
Marvel, it's like, well, this kind of happened, but this kind of happened. So I'm like,
right. Marvel's never really done like a full reboot per se. It's kind of always
kind of.
Yeah, Secret Wars, like the latest version of Secret Wars.
The newer one.
Yeah, Secret Wars 2. They did like a reboot, and they kind of merged the Ultimate Universe in, but it kind of kept most of the history of the old stuff. Like they really have done that sliding time scale where pretty much all the comics are in the main continuity, except the Elseworlds stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much how Marvel's done. DC, DC definitely had their stop, and then they continue, and then they retcon it back in eventually or something.
Eventually, they'll somehow link the two timelines, but you could still start from like Justice League #1 by Jeff Johns and Jim Lee, and just read from there, and you're good to go. That's what I did, and I turned out okay, just okay.
Right.
But once again, that's why it took me so long to get into Marvel, because it's like, that's why also what Hickman did with X-Men was actually pretty genius. He essentially rebooted the X-Men with House of X Powers of 10, because it's like, just start at Hawks and Pox, you're good. Just start at Hawks and Pox and just move on.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you have to know to get into this current era of X-Men. It'll explain everything else. Now, there's one Marvel character that people have, admittedly myself too, particularly now, because as you know, Lyle and I watched the Spider-Man movie. We loved it. I started to say, you know what? I want to get more Spider-Man comics. I didn't know where to start. So, Lad, since you're the Spider-Man aficionado, if someone wanted to get into Spider-Man, where would they start? How would they get into Spider-Man comics? Go.
Yeah. So, I'm more familiar with the movies and animated TV shows. So, like, there are so many animated TV shows that you can really learn everything on Spider-Man just by watching those, because those animated shows adapt the storyline. So if you just want to watch something, you can check that out. There's so many series. Just pick any one of them. They're all really great.
And a few, and most of them are self-contained.
Right. Yeah. Self-contained storylines. So those are really good. In terms of the comics, there's a lot. So right now, Amazing Spider-Man is getting close to its 900th issue.
Jeez.
So yeah, so it's this year is its 60th. We're coming up on the 60th anniversary of Spider-Man, coming up on the 900th issue. So I'm just gonna break it down, people. Some good places to start. Like you could just start at the classic Amazing Fantasy number 15 is a good place to start if you've never experienced with a classic Spider-Man. You just want to go to the very original. Just Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Fantasy number 15, where he was first introduced, and then right after that, you have the first Amazing Spider-Man issue. This is a good place to start here, just to learn about how Spider-Man was when he was a youth, when he was growing up in high school, and there are so many storylines and writers during this era with Stan Lee and other characters. You can start there. That's a great place to start. I'm probably just going to break this down by like the different volumes that have come out. So around 1999, they renumbered the issues again from number 1, and they started doing a few storylines. They eventually folded it back and just kept the numbering count. And let's see, a good place to jump on though could be right after the One More Day storyline or One Last Day storyline.
That one.
Yeah, you could jump on right there because that's right after Spider-Man loses his marriage and he is like back, like, you know, working at like a lower tier job. He's kind of like a fresh start for him. And that begins the big time era that we talked about in another podcast. That's like around 450, I believe, or 550. Yeah, 550, the big time era. You can really learn a lot in that time period. So like if you want to start like some modern day stuff, you could start on issue 550. That's a really great place to just jump onto the some of the modern era Spider-Man storylines. So you get Big Time, you get Spider Island, you get all those era stories. And then let's see, the next time they rebooted it again right after Spider-Man died in Amazing Spider-Man 700 and Doc Ock took over his body. That was 2014. So you look for Amazing Spider-Man 2014. That was a short volume. They had the SnyderVerse storyline. That's a great place to jump on. A few other storylines. And then, let's see, they rebooted again in 2015, right after Secret Wars. And that's when Peter Parker like becomes an Iron Man like character and he's out exploring the world. And that continued all the way until Amazing Spider-Man 800. And that ended with like a really cool Red Goblin saga where Norman Osborn merged with this Carnage symbiote. So it created.
That actually does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the Go Down Swinging storyline. And then that leads us to the latest place to jump onto. In 2018, they rebooted after Dan Slott finished his like many 100-issue run, and that's what we're on now. They've been doing a few storylines with that. So
he was on Spider-Man for like 10 years.
Yeah, no, he did storyline. He did Spider-Man for like 10 years. Yeah, you're right. He did a lot of storylines.
A lot of very memorable, and by memorable, I mean good memorable storylines. Some of the best modern Spider-Man stories were written by Dan Slott.
Right. No, he's done a lot of really cool, really fun storylines in his run, you know, with Superior Spider-Man, which was very controversial at the time with some people, but I think
until you actually read the storyline and realize it's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean he did a lot. I mean, Dan Slott, there was like a multi-writer team right after One More Day started, And for like 100 issues, it was from 550 to 650. There was like a lot of people working on it, and then Dan Slott included. And then with the big time storyline, he took over full creative control, and he did that from 650 to issue 800. So yeah, he was on it for a long time, did great storylines, and yeah, we're just gonna see where they go coming forward up on the 60th anniversary.
All right, cool. So okay, so basically what you're saying is that if I were to like say I want to start Spider-Man right now, I should probably just start at the beginning of Dan Slott's run and just move on.
Yeah, Dan Slott. Yeah, like honestly, like a really good place to jump on would be the big time storyline. It's here. Let me just amazing Spider-Man 648. That is a great place to jump on because that's right when Dan Slott started his run. Feels very modern day. It's 2011, so not too old. Feels relevant and fresh. You get great storylines, big time Spider Island, Superior Spider-Man, SnyderVerse, Red Goblin, tons of great stuff. You should start there.
I believe we covered 2 of his storylines on the show, right? Spider Island and Ends of the Earth.
Ends of the Earth. Yeah, we covered both of those. So you guys can check it out if you want to see our review of those storylines. If you've seen some of the, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie, that took some elements from the movie, the comic storyline. So if you want to see more of that, check out that.
That was Dan Slott too?
Spider-Verse, yes. Spider-Verse was Dan Slott.
Wow.
Yep.
I did not know that. That is so cool. Mind blown.
Yeah, no, that was really great.
I did not know that. That's actually really cool. So, okay, so I'll look into that, and everyone should look into that now. Yeah. All right. So, what's next? So, that's basically our advice on how to get into these characters. Now, next, we're going to transition to. All right. So, in terms of. That actually went by faster. I thought. Actually, so
we could talk. I mean, if you were thinking of something, I was thinking we could talk a little bit about the upcoming movies for this year.
Good idea. Let's do that.
DC and Marvel.
One more thing I want to add real quick. Storylines to jump on to that require little to no knowledge. Flashpoint is the number one. You would do that. Read Flashpoint and on, and that'll get you into the new 52 era.
Yeah.
Because Flashpoint really operates as a self-contained storyline until it reboots.
Yeah. And one thing I'll just add in for anyone, feeling like, oh man, there's so many issues because like I said, 900 for Spider-Man and other characters, right? Is that honestly, you can jump in on any issue. Like all the issues, most issues don't require all the back knowledge. And you can just jump on any issues. It usually gives you like a quick recap on the most important recent events. And you just start learning a few characters. Or the best place to jump on like a storyline, like I mentioned, the big time or Ends of the Earth, Spider-Verse. Just jump on any issue and you just start reading from there and you'll get a hang of it. You can always go back if you want, but you never like need to know the previous storyline stuff. Usually they'll keep you updated on some of those things.
And if you want an introduction on who Spider-Man is and how Spider-Man interacts with people, even though it's in Elseworlds Tale, Ultimate Spider-Man is like the best way to do that in a relatively small package because it's not that long.
Yeah.
And then it also gives you the introduction of Miles.
That's right. Yeah, you can pick up any of like the like Spectacular Spider-Man, Nonstop Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. Those are all not even counted in the numbering system. You can jump on self-contained stories, and for any of the other characters like Batman and Superman, any of the other characters, really you can jump on at any point if you want to, and you'll figure it out.
Oh, and by the way, so I have a question, lad, and I'm sure it's the question that any new comic book fan has. What's the difference between all the different Spider-Man books besides the adjective and the name?
So it's more just because Spider-Man is so popular that they can sell more comic books just by putting like Spectacular Spider-Man. It's usually those side stories don't have as big of an importance. Like they have cool storylines, but they're not mind-blowing like the Amazing Spider-Man, which is the main one.
Of
So
course.
you can read them. They kind of fit in anywhere in the continuity, just like in the time period. But they're just fun to read.
Well, I love that one scene in No Way Home where like Andrew Garfield's so down himself and Tobey Maguire goes, "You're amazing," and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yep.
But yeah, so going back to that, and another thing, Elseworlds storylines like Dark Knight Returns are also good places to kind of start because, even though they're Elseworlds telling, the characterization of like the Millerverse are like vastly different than anything in the normal ones. You at least know, okay, Batman lost his parents, this happened, this happened, this happened. Plus, it's also a way to at least read stories about these characters in like a smaller package instead of reading like 70 years of comics.
Yes.
Because can you imagine if it was like, okay, I want to start reading Batman. All right, read Batman issue 1 from 1939. Actually, no, read Detective 27 from 1939. I'm like,
long time ago.
That's going to take forever. And then in terms of, and then I would read, honestly, you could read for a good while until you get to like Doomsday Clock, and I would stop there.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry about that. The microphone fell down. But yeah, because Doomsday Clock, I would really count as like the end of the Rebirth era. And I think New 52 and Rebirth tell one massive cohesive story about Dr. Manhattan screwing with the DC universe.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where I would leave it because after Doomsday Clock, it just goes hog wild.
Right. No, I think that's the point.
And ultimately, also, here's the thing: you don't really have to be that vigilant about the continuity because guess what? DC and Marvel aren't very careful about the continuity either. So it's not like you're gonna miss something.
Right. Yeah, the continuity shifts up. Not everything always gets brought up. So it's nothing's concrete. It's hard to keep continuity clean after so many years. So sometimes usually it's more just like pick and choose some of the best storylines from the past, and that kind of gets remembered by the character in the present day. Even though I guess it would have only happened like a year ago in for Spider-Man because he doesn't get older. The last 60 years have happened like in the last 10 years or the 5 years of his life.
It's like with Batman in the New 52. They want us to believe that everything that Batman's ever been through has been in like 4 years. Like he lost 5 Robins, his back was broken. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So that's that. So next, actually, you know what? Let's, for one thing, just talk about Comics League for a little bit, and then we'll get into movies. So,
that's me. That's us.
Because it's 100 episodes. So, oh man, it's really like, and it's similar to how I felt when we got to like 1 year of this, but it's like 100. We are now in the triple digits, lad.
I know that's like a big deal. Hit 100 episodes like on a TV show or a comic book run. 100 episodes is good. That's it. That's commitment.
And we're still like, the YouTube channel is still growing, but we're steadily growing. So
yeah,
luckily being 100 episodes in, there's like a wide library of content for people to check out.
Yeah.
But so now, lad, favorite moment from the show?
Favorite moment from the show, man. We've had so many like different topics we covered. Like
mine was the first time you said you basically went Lois Lane.
Lois Lane, yeah.
That was my favorite. Because I'm like, because you said that, and I'm like, did I just hear that right? And he said it again, and I was like, did you just say Lois Lane?
Yeah. Yeah, about that.
Oh, by the way, he made me rewind the Snyder Cut when we first watched it because he thought Batman said Lois Lane.
Yeah, I thought it was Lois Lane.
We even put the subtitles on.
Ah, man. That was funny. I mean, covering the Snyder Cut was so much fun, but talking Star Wars with Tyler was always fun. I liked it when we did those episodes on the Bad Batch. Man, talking about like we did the movie reviews was really great. or when we covered a storyline in the comics. I remember like Final Crisis we did recently. That was really great. Or we did Infinite. I think you covered Infinite Crisis. That was great.
Did I cover Infinite Crisis? I covered briefly Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think.
I'm thinking that one.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. I didn't talk about Superboy Prime punching reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think my favorite episode is the Snyder Cut episode, because without that movie, I probably would not have this podcast right now.
Yeah.
Because I always tell the story. What happened was I always wanted a podcast. So I was thinking about the hell am I going to talk about on a podcast for like this long? So I go into a dentist's office. This is like the weirdest day ever. I go into a dentist's office. I had just completed my undergraduate. I come out. I'm perusing Facebook. And all of a sudden I see that Malcolm, that Dr. Ian Malcolm Jurassic World meme that SOB did it. So I'm like, oh, okay. It's from a DC news channel. So I'm like, okay, what happened? Then I see the black and white Wonder Woman poster that says Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
HBO Max 2021. And I had basically a conniption. It was like someone lit a hand grenade in my brain. I was like, oh my gosh.
Man.
Because remember, I cannot emphasize this enough. Lad and I did not think it would happen. We're like, okay, that's great. That's great. You're campaigning for it. It's not, because guess what? It has never happened before this.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I get that announcement and I'm like, oh. I texted Lad. Then we FaceTime like 3 days later. It had to be 3 days because Lad was doing schoolwork. So you can imagine the Snyder Cut gets announced. I can't talk about it with anyone for like 3 days because Lad's not available for FaceTime.
Yeah. It's like,
so then he's finally available and we're FaceTime and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Then my first episode was talking about the Snyder Cut. So I was like, hell of a way to start it off.
Nope.
I'm like, geez. And then Lad came on when we were talking about, I think also top 10 like DC and Marvel stories. And then it was like, Lad gave us basically in a nutshell who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
And then he became a regular guest. And I was like, you know what? Just co-host it with me.
Yeah.
You're here enough. You might as well.
No, it was really fun, honestly. Like, I remember doing that's the storyline, like covering the storyline and, you know, just like the story of the Snyderverse, like all the episodes we did leading up to it, like, hey, you know, the announcement, theories, actually doing the review of it, covering comic books leading up to it. That was really great. That era was great.
The review episode was like the most surreal episode I think I've ever done.
Yeah.
Up to now, because it's like, I can't believe we're freaking talking about this.
Right.
It still astounds me that I have it on my shelf right now. I have action figures dedicated to it. By the way, at one point, we will be doing an episode on the Snyder Cut movement because that itself is a story.
Yes.
We'll do like from 2017 all the way to 2020 when we got the announcement.
Yeah.
But it's like, Lad and I are sitting down to watch it. I think it was like on a Thursday that it dropped. And we sit down to watch it. I have my hoodie on. That's why it's part of the set. We sit down to watch it. I have my home theater. It starts. And for the briefest moment, we know what's going through my head, Lad. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. Yeah. It would be really disappointing if we waited three years for this movie. He completed it. He didn't just release the pre-VFX one, and then it sucks. And then it's good, fantastic. And then the axe on Superman's shoulder scene happens, and I'm like, this is the greatest superhero. No. That happens. Amazing. The Flash goes back in time. This is the greatest superhero movie of all time. Pun intended. And Lad's even a Flash fan. Lad, as a Flash fan, what was it like seeing that scene where he goes back, where you see the back in time on a really good budget?
Yeah, I was nice to see a high budget Flash running scene. I'll take what I can get on CW sometimes.
Yeah, the CW was good for 2 seasons. That's generally the way it works, which is why I'm a little concerned about Superman and Lois considering they're on their 2nd season.
Yeah, it's all downhill after that, you know.
I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, that moment watching the Snyder Cut was like, okay, did I cross over into like Earth 3? Because this is like this. It's weird. That's why I'm like, there's no way they don't restore the Snyder Cut, the SnyderVerse. Because let me put it this way. Let me just say, pre-Snyder Cut, I would have been like, yeah, they're not going to do it. This just opened up the valves that everything is possible. There's no way this does, particularly how Warner Brothers has not exactly done a good job at managing their movie universe. But anyway, it's like, now that we have this lad, it's like anything can happen now.
I know. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire could come back in a Spider-Man movie.
Oh my gosh, imagine that. And then Ben Affleck's Daredevil shows up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, dude, just imagine that for a second there. We got the Impossible movie that they, by the way, announced would not come on HBO Max. Guess what? Oh, another point that I just want to bring up that I think is a good piece of news. Guess what's leaving HBO Max? Justice League 2017.
Yeah.
Eat it, Whedon.
That's good news for sure.
Remember the days when we used to like Joss Whedon?
Yeah.
It was like 2012 is when I think he hit his high point, and then Avengers 2 happened.
Yeah.
And then Justice League is when I lost all respect for him, when I found out about everything that's been going on with him for like years and years and years and years. So I'm like, you know what? Done with you. But anyway, not going to talk about that right now. Now, for the movies, lad, of these superhero movies coming out. I'm sorry, go ahead, lad.
I there was something I thought was I remember like a great time was that when we did like the Transformers like announcement video or the He-Man announcement video, when we first got those like big views.
Yeah,
like
it's like when the He-Man episode happened, I remember my phone's exploding, and then it's lad texting me like, dude, are you looking at the views for the He-Man episode right now?
Yeah.
It's like 250.
Because we were used to like 20 was like a great day for an episode. That 20
was
awesome. And then we started getting like, it was like 100 on the He-Man, and it was like 200, 250. That was like our best videos still so far.
And by the way, it won't be for long, because that one on Superman Wonder Woman Volume 1 is rapidly close. It's eight views away from dethroning it.
Yeah.
And by the way,
right.
That video was released 3 months ago, and it still is getting views.
I know, dude.
That's like the biggest thing, because I'm looking at my analytics and I'm like, this thing is still getting, it's like 100. The last time I saw it was like 150 or so. Then like a couple of days go by, 170, 180, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, no, that was really cool to see that. Hopefully we're going to keep moving in that direction where we could actually be getting great viewership going forward as well. That'll be exciting, you know. But Wonder Bat versus Super Wonder, that first time
that was another good one.
I
enjoyed that one. That was a fun debate, considering I won, because unless it's an Elseworlds storyline, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that was a good time. We had there was so much good, so many fun times just talking about stuff.
Plus
when
we
covered X-Men.
Yeah, plus the fact this podcast was how we hung out during the pandemic.
Yeah, like this
when it was locked down. Like, we couldn't do anything.
Yeah, really, we really kept in touch a lot through this. I mean, we probably would have like talked on the phone, you know, every now and then, you know, maybe a couple weeks or so. But because we're doing this, we stayed in touch every single week during the pandemic earlier on. So because I only saw you like 3 times that first year of the pandemic, like in person, because I didn't want to. I was really scared of COVID.
Which, rightly so.
Yeah, and so, but we kept in touch through the podcast, so that helped things.
Well, yeah, and plus the fact these conversations that Lyle and I have had for 100 episodes are pretty much our everyday conversations. It's not like we're acting. This is what we're like in real life.
Yeah. No.
Although you can see my beard in more HD in real life, so.
Yeah, high definition graphics.
Yeah, that's also why when I came up with the podcast, I'm like, I got to get Lad on this, because it's like, this is what we talk about all the time.
Yeah. fun stuff.
All of our rants, that's us in real life. There are memories of us walking around FAU just talking about this for hours.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about stuff all the time. It was really good. Really good
I
stuff.
met him because he had a Bionicle background on his phone. And I'm like, I like Bionicle.
Yeah, that college days.
Oh boy, those days.
Man. And now, the direction the channel's going is great. Like Jared is, you guys checking it out. You guys are seeing Jared's putting a lot of effort into the latest videos, like really high quality content in these videos. Like he's really upping his game with the, lately, like with the thumbnails and the website and, pointed discussion, fun battle videos. Like you're doing a really great job with all the stuff here, dude.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of experimentation in terms of what type of content gets views and stuff. The battles actually get pretty decent views, but
yeah,
it's generally like I'm in experiment mode right now. Luckily, all my experiments with the thumbnails has been working out pretty well.
Yes, yep.
Because it's like the Kingdom Come one, I was like, the Kingdom Come is another thing that seems to be getting views consistently.
Yeah.
It's like Kingdom, you know why? Because I titled it Super Wonder is the first word in the thing / Kingdom Come, because that's what it is. So I'm like, all right, I won't lie, lad. That's part of the reason why I picked that storyline.
Yeah, clickbait.
Because we noticed that anything talking about Super Wonder gets a lot of views. That in the SnyderVerse, so we're like, well, we both like the SnyderVerse, so it's not like it's really that bad. We eventually will do an episode on Wonder Bad talking about why it doesn't work, but that's besides the point.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, Lad has done a fantastic job on the thumbnails as well. Most of the thumbnails for Bad Batch were him.
Oh yeah, I'm just stealing those off of StarWars.com, finding them. Really great stuff. But yeah, I helped out earlier on into some stuff.
You still help out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're working on bringing you guys a lot of very exciting content. We're going to put the Halo and the Star Wars show on hold for right now, because that way we can devote more time to our top shows, the X-Men, the Uncanny Academy of X-Men and Unto Capes, and give you guys more high quality episodes. So it's because also what would happen is that I wouldn't have a lot of time to come up with, like, what am I going to talk about for this time? So it would lead to like an episode that's very choppy and has a lot of pauses. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me put those on hold right now until at least I can hire people to do those shows.
Yeah,
it's like, let's just do this. And because that way we have more time to come up with great episodes. And obviously the new show will happen whenever there's big breaking news.
Right.
So,
Lad, that's great.
So now let's transition to talking about the DC and Marvel movies that are coming out. In terms of Marvel, I'm the most excited for Doctor Strange because it's going to bring in the multiverse. And the potential for Jean-Luc Picard to show up in a wheelchair.
Yeah. As Captain
Picard, except he's in the wheelchair. He's got the cerebral helmet, but it's Picard. Oh, he's like, don't worry, it's the X-Men's Halloween party.
Yeah. Oh man.
Make it so. But what Marvel movie, we'll start with that, are you the most excited for, lad?
Marvel movie. Boy, there's so much there's so much coming up in terms of Marvel. Here, so let me look. I'm looking at my list here. For 2022, we got Doctor Strange in May, Thor: Love and Thunder in July, Black Panther in November. So yeah, we have those 3 movies for this year.
By the way, I now like Black Panther 1.
Yeah. Jared has converted over.
I rewatched it and I'm like, this isn't as bad as I remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, of those ones, which one are you most hyped for, lad?
Ooh, Thor: Love and Thunder could be a lot of fun. Yeah, I guess I might be most excited for Thor, because honestly, Thor Ragnarok was a lot of fun. I'm kind of sad we lost. Like Thor 1 and 2 were really like going in another direction. Really, Thor Ragnarok started like a whole new Thor saga, but it's so much fun. I can't be mad. I'm probably most excited for that, for Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
That's my number 2. Number 1 is Doctor Strange because of the multiverse. And the fact that, remember when we all thought Wanda would be the main bad guy, but it turns out it's an evil Doctor Strange from like What If?
Yeah. That was a funny plot twist there. We have
quite a bait and switch. Now, DC, which DC movie? Me, it's Flash. I know my fellow SnyderVerse fans are gonna crucify me for that one, but you know what? First off, I'm gonna watch all the movies because I like DC characters too much. Yeah. But okay, it's a tie between Flash and Batman for me.
Yeah, we have Flash, we have Black Adam, we have Aquaman 2, we have the Batgirl movie on HBO Max, and the Batman.
I thought it was a series.
No, it's actually Batgirl's going to be a movie in the end. They changed it to make it a movie. Supergirl, I think, is going to be a series. That's sometime.
There's a Supergirl series.
Yeah, I think Supergirl's going to be it's one or the other. I mean, Supergirl is just like Supergirl's going to be a series. That's one where Michael Keaton's going to be in it also.
It was canceled.
Really?
Yeah. Which I'm like, okay, but that's all the more reason to doubt the Grace Randolph rumors. Grace Randolph was wrong. Why am I not surprised? That's all the more reason to doubt that they're going to replace Superman with Supergirl, because why would they cancel her show?
Right. I mean, no, it's a good point. I mean, what movie are you most excited for? I mean, are you going to check out the Batman? Because that's going to be a whole new take, new direction.
Tie among 3 movies: Flash, Batman, and Black Adam.
Ooh.
Those 3, because Batman, because the trailer makes it look so dope. Flash, because multiverse and Michael Keaton's Batman. And then good. Black Adam, because it's The Rock playing Black Adam.
Yeah, Black Adam's going to be insane.
It's going to have the Justice Society.
Yes.
Which we did review those movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's going to be really fun. I think for me, Flash might be my most hyped one. But honestly, I'm really looking forward to Aquaman also. Like, I think Aquaman is the one I'm looking to the most because I loved it. Flash, I'm super excited because I love the character.
And he's never gotten a movie.
But thing is, that's also part of the problem is I don't know what to expect. So I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I'm gonna love it yet. But I'm a huge Flash fan, so that's my number 2. But Aquaman, since I've already seen the first one, I love that. I think the Aquaman's at my number 1 right now in terms of movie. Flash, still my favorite character, though.
That's true, particularly as from Miller's Flash. By the way, so here's a little point for all of you SnyderVerse fans. Think about it this way. Yes, the Flash is a sequel to probably a sequel to 2017's Justice League. However, we know that they're basically changing the main Earth with the Flash movie. Do you think that they're going to change it to Zack Snyder's SnyderVerse?
Ooh, that could
Because what they could do is do the rest of the 2 movies and then just move on with whatever they want to do, because that's all we want. Just the 2 movies, and then they can move on to it. In fact, Zack planned a Flashpoint movie after his 2nd Justice League movie, after his 3rd Justice League movie, to reboot everything. So I'm like, they could just do that. Just do the 2 movies and this little, and then just reboot. But anyway, that's the way. My point is that ignore that the Flash is probably a sequel to 2017, because it could canonize. This could be the movie that canonizes the Snyder Cut. Because let me put it this way: when they told Zack that it would be an Elseworlds, they didn't expect it to be as popular as it is.
Right.
I get the feeling that they thought that if they released the Snyder Cut, people would finally shut up and be like, okay, it's a bad movie. Oh, no. Before it crashed HBO Max.
Yeah.
It literally did that, lad, by the way.
That's hilarious. That's great.
And were they forced to call it a global phenomenon?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, by the way, also, Ayer Cut is definitely going to come out at some point.
You think so?
Merger's going to happen. Ayer Cut's going to happen.
Yeah.
Wait until the merger, and then I guarantee you all the stuff that we want and that we've been campaigning for on social media for years is going to come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine, by the way, dude, how weird it was watching the Snyder Cut. How weird it's going to be to watch Justice League Part 2 and 3.
Right. Man.
Just imagine that. And watch the Suicide Squad completely redeem, and watch the Ayer Cut redeem the Suicide Squad movie like the Snyder Cut did for Justice League.
Yeah, it'll be really exciting. I mean, we'll have to keep an eye out. You know, anything's possible. You know, the impossible already happened when they released the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, here's why at least the Ayer Cut's easier. It's more done.
Yeah.
All he said legit, it's pretty much done. It's gonna cost, if they have to finish anything, it's gonna cost less than the Snyder Cut.
But yeah, okay. So in terms of DC live action TV shows, are you looking forward to anything? Because obviously, right now we only.
I'm gonna watch Superman and Lois. I'm not a big fan of Peacemaker.
Got it.
But I'm definitely gonna. I'm a little behind on Superman and Lois, but I'm gonna watch that. TV shows. I mean, I am moderately intrigued by Batgirl. I'll give you that. Also, Batgirl canonizes BVS because they talk about the Capitol bombing and Lex Luthor being in prison.
Yeah, that happened in the Batman vs Superman movie.
Yeah, they could, and I know they'll say, well, in Snyder Cut at the end, Lex Luthor's out of prison. They could always say it takes place pre-Justice League. It's that simple. Just do that.
Yeah. No, definitely. Let me see. In terms of DC TV shows, like they have a few. You know, the Superman Lois. That's probably the people. I've seen a lot of people really excited for that because that's really good.
Which Lad still hasn't watched.
Yeah, about that I haven't watched it yet, but they have that, and then you know there's the Flash TV show, which is still on its 8th season. They're a bit on hiatus right now. There's a few shows. There's you know, on HBO Max has a few DC TV shows that look pretty fun to watch. You know, so check those out.
The Flash is still going.
Yeah, it's never gonna stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I want to talk about though is the MCU TV shows. I'm gonna run through the list here real quick and let you tell me which ones you're most excited for. So coming out this year, we have Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Secret Invasion, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. So
Secret Invasion is number 1.
Same. I was gonna
because
say
of Secret Invasion, bro.
Yes.
We covered that episode in the podcast. It's amazing.
Yeah. We got Nick Fury back.
Closely by honestly Moon Knight.
That looks really
good. Then She-Hulk, because I like the character a lot.
Yeah.
Followed by Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Ms. Marvel's the last one.
Man, what even Ms. Marvel at the bottom for?
I'm not a big fan of the character, but I have promised that I am going to give the show a chance. I will cover it on the podcast. I will give the show a shot. It could make me like the character. Lord knows, if I could come up and decide that Black Panther is not a horrible movie, anything is possible.
Yeah, no, that's true. There might be hope for you. Not to concern you, but Miss Marvel just had some extensive reshoots apparently. So I mean, look, that's either a good thing. That can be a bad thing, but could also be a good thing. Maybe they're actually fixing some problems, and you know, maybe it's gonna be better now. So
maybe they're trying to make the character more. I do like how they're giving her unique powers instead of the whole stretchiness. I'm like, even though it's a ripoff of Green Lantern, but I'm like, okay, you know what? At least she's not a ripoff of a hero that exists in your universe.
Right. So spoilers for anyone who doesn't want to know about Miss Marvel. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little bit because we've seen some leaks around. They are getting rid of her stretchy power and digging power that, like, you know, Mr. Fantastic has. Instead, she's gonna have kind of like hard light powers where she can make projections of like fists, so she can like punch with like a giant light hard light fist or something.
That's actually really cool.
But you know what? At first I was like really upset because they changed the power, but then I realized that it almost works the same way, because if you make a giant fist, you know, or make the hard light construct stick out, it basically does the same thing as her like arm getting bigger or stretching out. And the bright side is that it doesn't look weird, because honestly, Mr. Fantastic stretching the arm, those were classic, but it just never really, it looks weird just seeing like someone's arms stretching out like anatomy.
It's even weird in the Avengers. It's even weird in the Avengers game when it happens. I'm like, I'm not sure how I like this.
Yeah, it works for the comic books and for the animated TV shows because, it's just the style. But honestly, in live action, that's just kind of creepy. And you know what? I'm okay with the change now.
With the what?
I'm okay with the change in her superpower now.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it because their other powers were stupid. And I guarantee you they're going to change in the comics too to keep synergy. So I'm like, at least they're not making her a ripoff of Mr. Fantastic anymore.
Right. So yeah, that's nice because it's not a ripoff of Miss Fantastic, and she's a little bit closer to Captain Marvel. So it kind of they seem a bit more related. They're
linking her. So I'm like,
yeah,
okay, cool.
That kind of feels nice, but she still feels like separate from Captain Marvel. So I think that's actually a good thing. I think that'll be good. One thing I thought was interesting is that last year, all the all the MCU shows we got were all on characters that we've already seen before. Wanda, Vision, Loki, Hawkeye, Falcon. They were all characters we've seen before. But now, they were awesome. But thing is, this year, all the shows we're getting are all new characters that are debuting in a TV show, which that's going to be a new experience to see a new hero showing up there. Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. I guess, Secret Invasion's technically, a kind of like familiar character, but still, we're going to see a lot of new characters debuting in a show, which we've never had that before. So
do you think they'll use Secret Invasion as an excuse to bring back dead characters?
I think they really could.
They could. They legitimately, this is the way to do it.
I didn't think about that before. That's a really good point. Because, the whole fun of Secret Invasion was to see, like, Iron Man and Captain America replaced by a Skrull, or your other heroes actually, like, evil because they're an alien in disguise. That's a whole bunch of fun of it. So I don't know how they'll do Secret Invasion, because if they don't have, like, the other heroes in it, it won't be fun. Like, if it's just Nick Fury and Talos and just hunting down people that are actually aliens, that won't be that fun. They have to do the full invasion. Always, I will be angered severely. Right. I hope it's really good. I hope it's good because we'll just have to see. We have the two of them. We have it was Maria Hill is confirmed for it also, and we have Emilia Clarke. She's gonna play a new character. That's gonna be exciting for her. She's the Skrull Queen, right? That's the rumor. It's not confirmed, but that's the rumor. She shows up on a dragon. Yeah, exactly. A dragon. And rumor has it that Sharon Carter's going to show up. That could be really cool. Which, as we know from Falcon Winter Soldier, do you know about her reveal in Falcon Winter Soldier, right? Yeah. So as we know, she has a new role in the MCU. So yeah. I think she would fit in pretty well there. She's good, evil, somewhere in between. Yeah, and I'm wondering, are they going to do anything with Val, or is she just going to I'm telling you, Val is going to be a Skrull. That is a Jared prediction. In Secret Invasion, Val will be revealed to be a Skrull, assembling a team of supervillains to divide the superheroes so they can invade. There you go. There it is. Yeah, that would be a good thing to do, kind of, to have it that dude, they make Zemo a Skrull because his idea was to divide the superheroes. That's what they should have done with Civil War in the comics, is make it so the Skrulls were trying to divide the superheroes. Yeah. Well, they kind of did that with Thanos. So watch. They make the Eternals a Skrull. Yeah. Actually, they can't do that because they're robots, but I'm trying to figure out ways that they can fix what's been going on with the MCU. Yeah. I think I'm also, another one really, I think Secret Invasion's most hype. Nick Fury, I love seeing him get his own thing. Talos is great. Also, I love the two of them together. She-Hulk, I think, could be a lot of fun because I think she seems an interesting character and a little bit more comedic. I like seeing the Hulk get a little bit of, stage light also because he's in it. Seeing them together, I bet that'll be really nice.
Maybe they'll actually bring him back to Savage Hulk, which is what everyone wants instead of the Hulk in a hoodie.
Right? Yeah. Hey, what's wrong with
so
that?
dumb.
Yeah.
When you see what we had pre-Endgame, pre-Infinity, actually, from the Hulk movie to the beginning of Infinity War, awesome.
Right.
It was only once we got to the rest of Infinity War where we're like, that was my biggest complaint with Endgame is what it did to Hulk. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Why, Marvel? Why?
Man.
But besides that, great movie. All right, so yeah, so Secret Invasion, I think, has the most potential for them to do some really weird things. Like they could legit bring back like certain characters that died and just say, well, those are the Skrull versions.
Right.
They could bring in like, let me see, off the top of my head, they could bring back Natasha. Well, actually,
yeah,
you did see kind of red blood. And normally when Skrulls die, they transform into Skrulls.
Oh, wait a second. All this time when you were saying bring back dead characters, I thought you were saying like having Skrulls pretending to be them in the TV show. You're saying that the people that died were actually Skrulls in disguise and the real one's still alive.
Yeah, I think that's what they did with Secret Invasion.
They could do that.
They could do that. It's like a ship lands because that's the way it is in the comics. A ship lands and then all of the prisoners of the Skrulls come out and it's like all like half the superhero community.
Yeah.
Including Maria Hill. It's like all of these strategically placed people.
That'd be great.
But here's the thing. Marvel's track record of adapting superhero like storylines isn't the best. In that they do in name only. I'm looking at you, Age of Ultron. I'm looking at you, Civil War. So I don't have that much faith, but it could surprise me. But we'll see what happens. So, I mean, should be interesting. By the way, Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi's coming this year.
Yes, that's really exciting. That's really hype.
Hayden Christensen, by the way, Tamara Morrison said he'd be willing to come in as Captain Rex in other clothes.
I'll be excited for that.
I'm like, oh, please. Yes, please, sir.
Yes.
I just want more boba. All right. So now, all right. Now, I'm trying to see. Okay. So final assessment of 2022. What's planned now, lad? Go.
There's a lot. We have a lot of Marvel movies, a lot of DC movies, and TV shows on both sides. That it's going to be a really exciting year. There's so much for any type of fan. If you're a fan of, Batman, a fan of Aquaman, Flash, there's going to be something for you. That even for us Miss Marvel fans, there's something for us. There's something for Jared also in terms of Batman. So yeah, it's going to be really fun. There's going to be something for everyone.
Yeah, we'll see. So. I mean, we'll see what happens. And remember also, here's another really key thing. The merger's done this year.
Yeah.
The merger between Warner Bros. And Discovery will be done like probably mid this year. So I'd say about summertime is, I think, when it's supposed to wrap up. And then we'll get all of these like, then maybe they'll figure it out and say, just let Zach do his other movies. And then you can continue doing your own DCEU. We don't care. Just give us this thing on HBO Max.
Yep.
But anyway, I don't want to turn this into a SnyderVerse like a craziness right now. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thanks for 100 episodes. We can't wait for 100 more. We'll see you at 200. Anyway, guys, have a great week, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Stay heroic, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah.